Yo, what's up, lads? Welcome back to another video. I have literally just landed in Bali and I wanted to just make a video to really just ensure that you guys are guaranteeing max amount of success coming this year. Sorry if I look a little bit red. I have caught a little bit too much sun on my first day. There's no such thing as too much sun, but I didn't sunbathe too much back at my place in Dubai. So here's a few pics from the first day, first 24 hours. But this is really what I want to talk about, guys. So one big issue I see is that most guys are constantly in a battle of seasons, but not necessarily the right season. Okay, so we want to make sure you're always in a summer. You want to make sure that you're just living the high life the whole time. You're lean, you're ripped, you're jacked, you're living in nice places, you're traveling well, you've got complete freedom financially, location-wise, body-wise, health-wise. Don't think that just money's more important than everything else. Like, it's not. Health is important because you've got money and you're ill. Nothing sucks more than being ill. It's about being ultimately in your high life in all areas, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, and feeling your best. And for me, it's like summer every day because I'm lean, I'm ripped, I've got a lot of muscle mass, I'm healthy, I'm fit. I'm in nice properties. I've got a nice place in Dubai, nice place in Bali. And I'm at this one on the picture is just my temporary. Actually, I'm moving into my main compound in just about a week now. I'm waiting for it to be finished. Travel, always the best. And not only this, guys, but my network is unbelievable. And I'm surrounded by like-minded people. And I've just met with one of my clients like half an hour ago. And one thing I was teaching him is one of my business clients. And I was telling him about how I've set up my brand so that everybody that works with me is just like a bro. Like, I spend 95% of my social time actually with clients. I've got clients in all the hot spots I would live in around the world, whether it's London, whether it's Sydney, whether it's Miami, whether it's Bali, Dubai. Like, I've got clients everywhere around the world, and everyone that works with me is like a mate. So whenever I land somewhere, I've got clients, I've got bros there who I can just go network with straight away. And that's also very comforting because it's obviously good being lean. It's good being jacked. It's good having a good body. It's good having the ability to travel. But one thing you also don't want is, yes, I do everything and go alone, but unless I take a chick with me, but you don't just want to be successful alone. You want to be winning together, and to have people winning or at least on the same path and grinding towards similar goals of freedom, of autonomy, of becoming the best version of themselves is honestly the best thing in the world. And that's what truly makes it for me. I know I've been doing well for a good amount of time now. And the one thing that gets better for me every year is, yes, my finances go better. Yes, my physique improves. The network and the literally community of people, because the brand's growing, and obviously my own networking and bringing people in, that's what makes it better. It's having that community to do it all with. That's what makes every year better for me. And I'm just in a summer the whole time, and the summer's just getting better by the day. Now, I just want to run through a little bit more about, like, most likely your position, because what I see a lot of the time, and with the guys before they work with us, or just if I think about my old self back in the day, I was in a cycle of autumn and spring. So definitely not like winter 100% of the year. I'm not saying you guys are, in an absolute hole. The chances are, if you were in winter right now, you wouldn't be watching this video. You would have your head in your hands and you would be in a massive rut and you would be down and you would be being a victim. Now, look, you might have 10% of your year where it just feels crazy. You're burnt out, you feel useless, you're in a comparison phase, and you're not using comparison for inspiration. You're just using it, and you're just in a low frequency state. Now, everybody gets these days, and you might have a little bit of a year, but right now, you guys are most likely in the autumn and spring. So by all means, it's all right, but it's not summer, okay? And if you get summer, you might get it for like a day, but you've never had it pouring with sun. You've never had the 45-degree heat, metaphorically, beaming down onto your life, right? So this is the thing, right? Spring, by all means, I know you guys will have some growth spurts because you've got a goal. You know you're destined for more than the life you probably got. You know you want to be in better shape. You know you want to earn more money. You know you want to have more freedom. You know you want to do better in your relationships, better in your network. And you have these bursts of motivation and you have these little growth spurts, but they're just spurts. It's spring and you've not made it through to summer. Likewise, autumn. You spend a lot of time in autumn where you're confused. There's frustration, but there's reflection. It's just not... It's okay. You know you're doing fine. You're doing better than most of the guys around you, but it's not summer. And I'm going to show you guys in this video how to reach summer and how to sustain summer. Because summer is you're thriving, you're growing daily, you're purpose-fueled, fulfilled, extremely fulfilled intrinsically, extremely high frequency. You've got complete freedom and you've got the environment of winners. You're in the room, whether it's physically or virtually, with winners. So for example, yesterday I was traveling. I actually had a call with one of my mentors. He's actually a billionaire from the US. That sounds crazy, but he's legit a billionaire. And then I'm in an environment of winners, but it's just virtually in that case. And that makes me fulfilled. Today, I've just met 3 of my clients. 2 of them elite business, 1 of them my elite fitness client, right? I'm always around winners. And then obviously I've had calls as well with clients. So let's talk about summer. What most guys do and make the mistake of is they try to just have these mega intense days or periods of motivation where they try to make the sun shine so bright, it's just going to destroy the clouds and the clouds are going to go forever. However, that doesn't happen, guys. You have these bursts for like a day and it just ends up being a spring. And then you go back into autumn and you skip the summer. And it may even send you after one of these intense bursts into a winter because you just put so much effort in for an unsustainable amount of effort with a goal which weren't definitive and would guarantee results. And because you put so much effort in, but it weren't necessarily the right inputs, it just sends you into a spiral and into a winter. So what I'm going to do is articulate exactly what makes it cloudy and how we can just pull the clouds away. Because guys, instead of focusing on making the sun, shine so bright, why don't we just remove the clouds? Because the clouds are just blocking the sun. And that's how we have summer. So I'm going to run you through these points, guys. I would, if I were you right now, if you're on your phone, I would take notes. If you've got access to pen and paper, I would write this down. And again, you want to be treating this like a Bible. Because when you know how not to lose, it makes life much easier. Now, first thing, your conscious mind is currently a sponge to everything. So one of the reasons why you're cloudy and you're in this confusion state and you're bouncing between spring and autumn is because you're not taking control of how powerful your conscious mind can be. And your conscious mind, I go deeper on this in other videos, but it has the ability to accept and reject information. But most people don't turn on that switch. And they just, without realizing, every piece of information that comes in is just accepted. And what that does is it starts negatively programming your subconscious mind. And that, in effect, dictates your level of action and how you make decisions and how you operate. So we need to start adopting the accept reject principle. So, for example, if you get a thought pop up in your mind and it's like, I'm not sure if I can do this, if you switch your mind on to be mega self-aware, you can go, okay, am I going to accept that or reject that? Does that thought serve me? No. Get rid of it. And now just intentionally program your mind with the idea of the future desire already fulfilled and just only accept better than your current reality. Anything which is in your current reality or prior, you have to reject. This is a skill you must master. We go deep on this with our clients on our group calls, the mindset side. The next thing is you're hanging around people and taking advice from others who have not achieved anything close to the goals you want to achieve. And this is 99.9% are guilty of this, right? If you're hanging around losers, you're going to be the next loser, right? Nobody ever, no great multimillionaire or no great guy who's in crazy shape ever got there by hanging around losers. Like, that never happened. People go, oh, what about Elon Musk? Elon Musk came from the PayPal mafia. Like, those guys went on to build apps like YouTube, the other guys. Like, the most successful environment around them. You will be the next one from your environment. I had someone comment on my Instagram post today, and they were like, oh, they mentioned my mentor. And I was like, yeah, your network is your net worth. Like, you have to be paying to get in the rooms a lot of the time. If you want to go massively above where you are, you do have to pay to play. And every time I've got in the rooms which have grown me the most, I've paid to play. You know, whether it's masterminds in person, whether it's coaching, like with my mentor, or mentoring, people call it. But you do that. And what that also does when you pay into the mastermind or into the coaching or into the networks, you then not only have the people who are so far ahead who can help you and give you the breadcrumbs, the whole path, and the mindset to go with the knowledge, but you're then also in a room where you've got hundreds of other guys on the same mission adopting it. And now you are in a room with guys that are all on the same mission, in terms of most likely with your friends right now all going in random directions or don't even have a purpose. If you're around anyone who doesn't have a purpose or a definitive goal, that's like being around a disease. It's a cancer. You have to get rid of it. You need to get around people who are intentionally moving to a goal every day. The next thing is you keep making decisions that serve your current self and your old self, but not your future self. This is one of the biggest issues people have. They make decisions that is the exact reason they are today. So I always say this: you shouldn't ever listen to yourself when it comes to making a decision. So when it comes to decisions, what happens is the logical part of your mind takes over, and it overthinks and it overworks. And the thing is, if you've got stress about not achieving something, or anxious or fear of failure, you've now got all this additional stress which is coming into your logic mind when it comes to making a decision. So for example, let's say we're investing in, for example, let's say you got a business and you were going to invest in some new systems, okay? Now, your logical mind may be like, oh, but I've got to pay for this in a month, and and I'm stressed, and I just don't know because I had an argument with my girl, And then your mind actually makes a horrendous decision for you. But what you have to do is you have to train yourself to do two things. One is make a decision like the guy who's already got the result would tell you to do. Most people make a result like their current self or their old self, which is the reason they're there. You have to make the result. For example, if you want to have the life I have and the body I have, you would have to say, what would Tom do here? Well, Tom's not going to fucking not get the coaches, the mentors, invest in the systems, and do all of that stuff. Right? But then if you make the decision like you, with all the clouds in it, well, that's the exact reason you're there. Okay? Another thing is learning to listen to your heart, and you have to be conscious about this. So that's what I was saying, that the mind has this ability to get cloudy when there's stress and anxiety and fear, and it overthinks, and it keeps you where you are. Whereas if you learn to listen to your heart and you almost feel, what you should do is a little experiment. I've done this. This last mentor I invested in was a lot of money, but I know there will be a huge return. And mastery for me is the thing I care about the most. Okay. And this is the deal, right? You should do this experiment. Use your heart, not your conscious mind, which is going to have all this confusion in it. And think about, okay, imagine you've made the decision that you invested in it. How does your heart feel knowing that you've made that move? And then also imagine you didn't make the investment, and don't listen to the confused mind. Listen to your heart deeply. This is a skill you can learn and adopt over time. And go, oh, how did it feel not doing it? There's like a drop. There's like you don't feel good because you know that was the thing, but you let all the stress and anxiety move you out of it. Okay, so when it comes to making decisions, make the one of the high performer or the high performer version of you that's already got the result, which the thing is, most people make a result like their current version or what their friends around them or their mum would think is the right thing, the people who don't have the results. But then the person who does have the results would be like, you're an idiot. So you should care more about what would the person with the results think of this decision versus the people around me or my current self. Because the person with the results who knows the path is the only person that knows. So you should fear that their judgment, right? Not the people around you with no results. The next thing, you are trying to read chapter 11 before chapter 1. This increases your confusion and causes procrastination and more low frequency states. So I see this all the time. Now, you should look and be inspired by high performers, but what you do, like the whole purpose of, for example, I see this all the time. People will come and just try and mimic exactly what my business is and does today. And then they get into a really low frequency state because it's not where it is. Well, what they didn't see were all of the chapters I went through, which have to be gone through to get to chapter 11 for it to make sense and for chapter 11 to actually work. So what I would then coach back out is, okay, this is the chapter you're at now and these are the next actionables. People try to jump to the wrong chapter and it will never work. A great mentor will understand exactly where you are and lay the breadcrumbs from where you are to their point, not just this is my point, so you do the same as me. That never, ever works. And I see this every single day. And guys just end up going round in spirals. And it leads them to other things that make it cloudy, which we're going to run through. The next one is you are trying to skip the feeding part. Another huge mistake. Success doesn't come to you. You must meet success by becoming somebody new. And that requires fuel. So the feeding part, what do I mean by that? I mean, you have to feed yourself. This is a key part to leadership and growth. So right now, you're wanting to grow this body or brand or whatever it is. Well, that won't grow unless you are feeding, and that's going to be knowledge. You have to be taking in more. So it's like you want to be this big great white shark, and right now you're a goldfish, and you just want to be the shark. Whereas the shark became the shark because day by day, it was just eating another small fish, another fish, and then it started eating medium-sized fish, and then bigger fish. Every single day, audiobooks, coaches, mentors, courses, masterminds, networking. And people are trying to become the shark without doing the feeding. And nobody ever became the shark without doing the feeding, and everyone's getting extremely frustrated because they're trying to get the outcome without doing the same inputs. You have to be constantly feeding. And all it does every day you don't feed, it just keeps you that distance, if not further away from your goals, and puts you then into more of a confusion autumn winter state, which lowers your frequency and can actually be a really negative spiral. The next thing, waiting for the right time instead of creating it and building you en route. This is the thing, right? So a lot of people, I hear this all the time, Tom, I need to wait till I'm this guy, so I can start my business, for example. Well, I didn't wait till I'm me and start my business. I started my business and became me during the process, and I would have never become me unless I was on the journey of building the business. Okay? So you will never build you without taking the action and starting today. So this confuses me. Like, people will be like, I want to start this business. And I'm like, well, where is it? Like 20 minutes later, if I want to start something, I don't have to know how, but it will be started. I've got multiple businesses and it will be started now, and I will figure it all out along the way once I know I have a definitive goal. Okay. So just stop waiting, right? You are literally if you're waiting for the right time to start, that's just avoiding your goals. When you do start, you change paths faster than ever. A lot of people are guilty of this as well. This is not a professional problem. It's not a career path problem. It's personal development issues. So a lot of people get to the point where they hit a brick wall and they think it's not growing and they've got the wrong business and the wrong model. It's not that. Okay. Maybe if you got to like 150K a month and the business model you're in just physically wouldn't go beyond that, well, then yeah, you might need to shift business model. But most people are struggling to get to 10, 20, 30, 50K a month. And they're thinking it's the business model. Any business model gets to 100K a month. Then above that, then yeah, you might want to change different business models. But all you need to do is pick one business model and run with it and become a master of it and love it and be more passionate about it than everybody else and stick with it, guys. If you are not getting to a very high income, it's not the business model that doesn't facilitate that. It's a you problem. And that's just a sign that you need to start feeding more. Okay. The next thing, massively underestimating the work rate, the intensity, the knowledge and attention to detail that high performers, i.e. sharks, have, because you don't know what you don't know. And A lot of people experience this, especially the business clients, when they start working with me and we do the onboarding call and we do the full business setup and walkthrough. Obviously, people know I do well and they see my lifestyle and they see obviously what I have access to and my business, but this is something that everybody's guilty of. I've had this myself, you know, with like mentors and stuff. Like, you see someone's outside and you see their life and you're like, yeah, cool. But you think that they just operate exactly the same and that's it, because you're just seeing a human body, right? Whereas what you can't see is you can't actually see into their mind. You can just see the outside, and it's quite deceiving. So clients come on the call with me and they just go like, I had a message from a guy who just started in the business, had his onboarding call literally like a few days ago. And he literally just said to me this. Let me find it. He said, ideas now flowing out my brain, insane 48 hours, best decision I've ever done, and I'm only 48 hours into a lifetime of this. This has completely changed my life. I did not imagine how much value there would be. Okay, this is a guy whose life has completely changed already. Business is booming in its first like few days, already booming. But that was just an example of like, he knew there was going to be a lot of value, but he underestimated the attention to detail, the knowledge that I have as an individual. Okay. And that's a misconception a lot of people make. You know, I've been guilty of this as well. You know, I've jumped on, it's class because you jump on and I'm on a call with a mentor and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, if they've got such a different outcome, you can't perceive what they know in their mind and what they do. But then it's only until you work with them and you speak with them, you're like, oh yeah, this is why. Like, people aren't the same as you and have 50x different outputs. People are operating differently. It's all skills, it's all learnable, but you need to stop underestimating the work rate, the intensity, the passion, the care, the attention to detail. Right? If someone has a very different life or business or body to you, they are operating differently. It's all learnable, but don't just look at the cover. There's a lot going on in here, and everyone thinks they know everything because you know everything you know, but you don't know what you don't know. And it's something to think about. The next thing is you care too much about what others think of you. You must learn to become completely detached from all low frequency states. Again, this is something we talk about with all our clients. You know, mindset plays a big role, and, you know, you can have the knowledge, but if you care too much about what people think, it will get in the way, and you have to be completely prepared to detach from these states. It's like, okay, care about what others think about you and be fat and broke. Fine. Right? You just got to get over it. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Just look deep into write down on paper, what is the worst thing that can happen? And when you actually write it down, and then that's the reason you're not doing what you know you need to do, you will go, I am the biggest wet fucking simp ever. And yes, Tom would call you a fucking fag, right? And then you can write down, I am a fag. Every single day you don't do it, from Tom, from my behalf. Because it's pathetic if you care about what other people think of you, okay? Next thing, you think that safety is the path to success. So avoid risks. And as a byproduct, I put risks in inverted commas because what most guys think is the risk is their path out. Okay. And as a byproduct, avoiding the path to success. So most guys, I hear it all the time. Most guys are like, oh yeah, that was a bit of a risk, so I'm just going to do this. The risk, the thing you're avoiding is the answer to the life you want. Okay. With everything. Everything you're avoiding is the answer. Okay, if it's avoiding investing in yourself, if it's avoiding quitting your job and starting a new career path that you're actually passionate about, the answer is there. You've just got to do it. That's the answer to the life you want. Okay, if you think taking the easier of the two routes is going to get you the better outcome, you are delusional. You are going to the same outcome as everybody else. You need to get to every junction and go, which one would 99.999% of the population perceive as more difficult and easier? Take the more difficult one that 99.9% wouldn't do. You do that and you will win. Okay? When you choose your path, you don't have a definitive strategy that would guarantee you achieve your goal within the desired time frame. This is huge, guys. So a lot of guys do get to the point where you do choose your path. You guys watching this may know exactly kind of who you want to be, where you want to go. I always say this: who do I want to become? What do I want to achieve? Have both. But then you are just floating around in the wind trying to get there. But what that does is it leaves you in doubt, it leaves you in fear, and it makes it impossible to have total faith in achieving the goal, which then means your daily thoughts remain more about your current reality than possessing your dream one. And we know from the conscious thoughts, if you're only thinking about your current reality and struggle and doubt and fear, or even failing beyond back where you are, if they're the images in your mind, that's the life you will create. Whereas when you know you have a guaranteed why do you think I have a billionaire mentor at the moment? Because if I was to just guess around with the strategy I have at the moment, now it doesn't mean I'm going to be a billionaire tomorrow. Sorry guys, I've just had my steak, rice, and sourdough delivered. But yeah guys, you got to make it undeniable, right? If I was to have the goal of success I want to achieve within my brand and the impact I want to have on the world, but I was to have a strategy that was guesswork, I was to have a strategy that I didn't fully trust or wouldn't make it as undeniable as possible, I would spend most of my day doubting that I could achieve the level of success and impact on the world and on men I want to have. Like my ultimate goal is I want to get men across the globe in the best shape, operating from the highest standard, reprogramming the mind correctly and getting rid of all this society bullshit and making money online and being free and living complete autonomy. Now, if I was to go about this with my current mindset, which is good, it's not that level, because if it was that level, I would have already achieved it, guys. So you've got to have the humility to go, okay, where can I go for knowledge and strategy that would make it undeniable? Because when you have an undeniable strategy, it's not about having it now. I could not be at my goal now. I could be 1,000,000 miles away from my goal, which in reality from my goal, I am, okay, on the impact I want to have. But I now have total faith in it because I know I'm in safe hands. I know I've got the blueprint. I know I've got the strategy. And that's what it's all about, guys. Guys, let's get it. Let's go. If you're not already, by the way, guys, you want to be in my free Telegram, I will put the link below. It's called Ripped, Rich, and Rare. We're creating a rare breed. I will just be dropping daily bombs throughout the day. Voice notes, updates. You'll see behind the scenes of my life. Business stuff, fitness stuff. Make sure you're in there, guys. It's going to be complete course correction, day in, day out. And yes, there's going to be daily YouTube videos, but you need to be in there. Let's go.